What is up, crew? Welcome to another episode of Seek the Edge podcast with me, Kelsey Lensman, where our goal is to challenge you to step out of your comfort zone so you can see the God-given potential and pursue the God-given potential that is within you. Hopefully, you have been able to settle into the new year. I know a lot of times January comes around after the holidays and it's like, okay, we got to do this and this. And it just can feel like it's go, go, go. And I know that especially coming off of the 100 for me and then diving into all creation of XYL events, like that is exactly what it felt like, is just go, go, go. But this is the time where it's February 5th as I'm recording this, where it feels like it's been forever, but also gone in the blink of an eye with January. But this is the time where we really get to settle in. We get to settle into the rhythm. We get to settle into the routine. And I love to talk goals and focus of the upcoming year, not when January, when everybody is, but now as we get into the rhythm of it. We get to kind of operate in a more balanced and stable place versus this, okay, let's set all these goals and go crazy at the beginning of the year. Which, side note, we are doing a completely free planning. I'm calling it Make 2025 Epic Call this upcoming Monday. For anybody that wants to join, and we're going to plan and project and just be able to also reflect on the year prior to say, okay, like what have we done well? But then also, where are some of the areas that we want to grow going forward? So if you want to be a part of that, go ahead, head to our social, Expand Your Limits, or my social, and you'll see the link for it. But anyway, in this podcast, I am updating you on all of the things. Update you on the recovery from the 100, my next pursuit and next goal in the fitness arena that I will be starting a brand new YouTube series on, my current training split, all the XYL forecasts and events, launches, exciting new things happening in this podcast, what I'm also reading that has been incredibly helpful, and then last but not least, one lesson that I've learned over this month. So if I were to summarize this podcast, it is the updates of all updates that I hope that you get something out of and just sparks a little fire in you too. So first, let's dive into recovery from the 100, and then I'll piggyback into my next fitness goal. So for those that don't know, I ran my first ever 100-mile ultra December 30th through the 31st, and I finished within 38 hours. It was one of the most challenging things physically I've ever done, but honestly too mentally. I went to a place, and if you're a part of my crew, you were there and you saw it. I went to a place that, not that I've never been to before, but I literally questioned, can I finish this? My feet had really bad nerve pain in it. Mentally and just morale, I was at my high, then I went to a low, and then the second day I was able to come up just with the people that were around me, my dad and Zach that helped run with me that second day. But as I finished the 100, my ankles, it's funny, I took a video of this and I posted it on social media, and the amount of people that I had responding, it was a video of my ankles and my feet and just how swollen they were the next day. And the amount of people that responded back of like, Kels, you know that you're not going to be able to get a guy with those ankles. And I was like, yeah, trust me, it doesn't feel good as much as it doesn't look good right now. But as I was coming back, the biggest issue that I was having was just honestly the nerve pain. I told people that it felt like when your feet fall asleep or your elbow, this happens like kind of with your elbow too, like your elbow falls asleep and you feel like it's pins and needles. And then it just felt like I was stepping on those pins and needles. I mean, every single step. And my feet were just incredibly sensitive, let alone with just the inflammation and the swelling that were in them. So I flew back that next day from my race back to here, Columbus, Ohio. And I was able to walk a little bit better as I came back home, still really slow, very cautious of like where to step. Usually I can just get up and go, but I had to be very slow and meticulous about taking a step and making sure I hit it on the right part of my foot. And my balance was just off just because the nerves were just still trying to regenerate there. So as I was coming back, I took the rest of that week off. So I finished my race on that Monday. Was it Monday? Yeah, it was Monday. And then I ended up taking the whole rest of that week off just to try to recover. Let my central nervous system recover because it was pretty exhausted and fried. Let my feet recover, my nerve pain, and just get the swelling down. That was my goal. I think the first day that I just moved my body some was that Saturday. So I finished on Friday. That Saturday, I went to the gym super light. I think I just did walking, just some light upper body, and just some easy lunges. Super simple. And then that next week is when I started to ease back into things. So I did not just go 0 to 100 that next week. You need to allow your body to rest and recover, and that looks different for every single person. Like my dad, he ran 40 miles because I don't think he was planning on running so much with me, but I needed him and he was there. But he ended up running the next day. I was like, you are superhuman, man. But for me, I needed a little bit more time to recover and rest. So do not base your recovery off of what I did. It might be a little bit faster or slower, depending on where you're at. But that following week, I was able to really ease into it. I did lighter weights. So, 50% or less than what I was doing. I didn't do any running, but I was just allowing my body to get back into movement. And that actually felt really good. It's like when you don't do something for a little bit, I was like itching to just move my body again. But I also had to be smart to not push too much because I didn't want that to either lead to an injury, or I also didn't want that to lead to me hurting myself down the road or just frying my central nervous system. So it took that then next week to ease back in. And then that following week, it was pretty game on. Like I was ready to get after it. I was ready to go. But I will tell you, as I kind of took the reins off and I was like, okay, let's start training pretty hard again. The weights felt heavy. Oh my gosh. I to give context, I think I was previously, and this is not crazy heavy. Many people do a lot more than what I did. But I think my 1 rep max for squat is 285. And then I was doing 185 and it felt incredibly heavy. So 100 pounds less. Deadlift, I'm able to do, 385, I think 375. I was doing 205 and it felt like I was lifting the world. And that's as expected, honestly, because I still strength trained throughout the entire prep for the 100, but I took about 2 months prior and I was focused on mind-muscle connection and movement, but not really going crazy, crazy heavy because my mileage was really up from training. So I knew that my strength was going to go a little bit. And it's not that I lost all my muscle. It's not that I lost all my strength. I just knew between my central nervous system needing to recover and then also just my training priorities switched a little bit that I needed to build that back up. And side note, I tell all of our women and all of our girls is you want to be really clear and focused about your training and the outcomes that you want. For some people, they want to run the marathons and lift the heaviest weights possible and get the best physique and whatever else, right? They want to do all the things at one time. And I will never limit somebody in being able to do the things that they want to. But what I tell them is we need to have number one North Star. What is your main focus so you can get really clear on the outcome? So for example, for me, my main focus was finishing the 100 miler. Okay, I knew in that time frame is my strength might go down just a little bit, right? My ability to really push some of the strength in the training, it might look a little bit different. So instead of me freaking out and being like, oh my gosh, I've lost all this muscle, I've lost all this strength. No, it's just my priorities shifted a little bit. And now they can shift back to really regaining that strength and muscle. And I was really grateful to maintain, honestly, a lot of it throughout this entire prep. It was crazy, but I started and ended at the same exact body weight from when I started running to literally competing at the 100 miler, which it just contradicts everything that somebody thinks about. So with my endurance training, I was able to run slow for a very long time. And many people that I talk to now, they're like, oh yeah, you're probably in the best shape of your life. I'm like, actually not really, because for that 100, I needed to be able to run really slow, but run forever, never. Like be able to run for hours on end. As it's shifting, that does not correlate to being able to run fast or run at a pretty high threshold and keep your heart rate high for about an hour-ish, which now it is the time to shift. Which brings me to my next event that I'm so pumped about. We have a girl crew going down, and that is that I'm competing in my first ever High Rocks event in Washington, D.C. on March 30th. And many of you might be wondering, what is that? What is High Rocks? I might have heard of it, but not really sure what it is. Or, hey, I've never heard of it before. And it is increasing in popularity here in the States. So it was overseas, and then it really started increasing popularity within the last year and a half, 2 years. And it is basically, and this is my words, not theirs, but kind of the ultimate hybrid fitness athlete event. So it's a combination of running and functional lifting and strength training. And what this event is you do a 1K run, so 0.6 miles, 1,000-meter ski erg. 1K run, a sled push with 225 pounds on it for women. 1K run, a 50-meter sled pull with a weight of 171 pounds. 1K run, 80-meter burpee broad jumps. 1K run, 1,000-meter rowing. 1K run, 200-meter farmer's carry with a weight of 35s in each hand. 1K run, 100-meter sandbag lunges with a weight of 22 pounds on your back. And then last but not least, 1K run and 100 wall balls. 100 wall balls, which if you have ever done a wall ball, it's where you squat and then you push the wall ball. It's like a big medicine ball up, and then it comes back down and you just go into a squat and push basically the whole time. That will steal your soul. It will steal your soul, especially after everything that you've done. So the difference for this is the 100, like I said, is you had to master going really slow for a long time, 30 plus hours. Heart rate is pretty low and steady. It's not this, really jack your heart rate up and bring it down. In my training, I did do a good amount of speed work, but it was just long and monotonous and slow, okay? With this race, man, has it been different training for. This is you're training at a very high threshold effort and needing to maintain that for over 60 minutes. So you are going basically all out, and there's strategy to this, but you're going all out. You're doing really heavy sled push, really heavy sled pull, needing to run at a decent pace and manage that high heart rate over that time. Completely different. And oh man, was I humbled when I started training for this. I'm still hitting a good amount of strength, still hitting some accessory runs, but the High Rocks training, I almost want to compare it, a lot of people compare it to this, and it's a little bit different, but kind of a CrossFit style. You're doing AMRAPs, you're doing EMOMs, you're doing different movements combined over a period of time. It's not much rest in between. But it has been a fun challenge, and I've been training with some of my girls from the gym and just different people popping in. And if you've seen me in the gym, you know that it will steal my soul at days. But what my training looks like right now is Monday, as I still focus on strength, I'm doing a full body split, so 3 full body days, which I've been loving with the accessory runs and different types of training that I'm doing. Tuesday, I do my second full body lift and a zone 2 run. Wednesday, I do a High Rocks threshold, so that's usually an AMRAP. I don't do too much EMOMs, but AMRAP as many rounds as you can get, and it's usually between 30 minutes and an hour. So all out that day. Thursday is my last full body lift and a run interval workout, so that's usually higher speed, higher effort. Friday is a rowing workout, and then it should be also ski erg, which there's a machine for that, but we don't have that at the gym. So I forgo the ski erg. And then Saturday, last but not least, is a massive High Rocks workout. They're usually 85 plus minute sessions where you're doing a combination of wall balls and sled pushes and runs, burpee broad jumps, farmer's carries, very similar to what I'll be doing in High Rocks. So that's trying to train my body, my nervous system, and also my mind to be able to exert that effort over an hour and a half pace. And the women, the female pros at this race specifically, don't quote me on this, but they're still around that hour mark. There's some that are sub an hour. Like that's the goal for those women that are pro. But this event will take hour and a half, sometimes if not an hour 45, and you're outputting for that time frame. So you need to get your nervous system, your physical body, and also your mindset to be able to endure for that time frame. So man, has it been different. And I've been definitely needing to, and I'll be transparent, need to get better at this, is hone in on my nutrition and recovery with this type of training because the output is high. I was actually talking to one of my girls that are training for this, and I mean, the training's pretty intense. You do not need to do all that to achieve a body composition goal or, just get healthy, but this is very specific type of training for a specific goal. And I was talking with one of my girls that just wasn't eating enough, and I'm like, yeah, for this one, you have to train like an athlete. And by training like an athlete, it means that you have to take care of things outside of the gym just as much, if not more, than what you're doing in the gym. So nutrition has to be pretty on. You can't go from a lot of inconsistencies. Your recovery, meaning your sleep, has to be pretty up there with it because that output is high. And I will say that it is nothing like training for the 100, meaning the time commitment isn't as much. I mean, I would spend 4 to 8 hours on a Saturday running for training for the 100. So the output's a little bit less, but the intensity is really high. And so it's just getting your body used to that. So that is all things. Update on recovery from the 100. My nerve pain went away within 2 weeks. Amen to that. I've been so grateful for. My body's been responding pretty well, and we're training for high rocks now, which I'm so pumped about. So that's updates there. I love continuing to set goals for me personally because as I love encouraging others and doing what we're doing with Expand Your Limits for our women, it is very important to me to still keep myself good. I tell our girls this all the time is, especially when you're a giver and you're giving either to your family or your work or those around you, you got to keep you good at the end of the day. And setting a goal and seeing growth in that goal for me personally and feeling like that athlete is incredibly important to me, not just for my physical fitness, but also for my mental fitness. And so I'm grateful to have a body that is capable, and let's use it as we can. So now let's talk Expand Your Limits. And Expand Your Limits is not just for challenging women outside of their comfort zone, but it's also challenging us as a company outside of our comfort zone. And we have ran all women's strength events for the past few years. Never thought we'd be running events, but it has been such a blessing to see where God steered this ship and just the women that we've been able to encounter. And this could not be a thing without our entire community and everybody being a part of it. Like this is not my doing. This is the doing of everybody that I have around us, our community, the mentors that I have, the people that speak life into this. And so I'm just incredibly grateful for it. But we have also stepped out of our comfort zone and said, okay, Kels, for some women like myself, the lifting is fun. The lifting, you've stepped out of your comfort zone that way. Like, okay, it's challenging, but it's not that, oh shoot, how am I going to do this? That is why we've expanded to 3 other divisions of an outdoors division where we're hosting big hiking events and military style events, which I'll share later. We also have our endurance division, which it's runs, and then also resilience, where it's cold plunge, breathwork, and sauna events. And so we just released our first half of the year up until May, our events for this year, which I'm so excited to share with you. And I cannot tell you if you are going to be a part of these events, it's going to break a belief what you're capable of. And also you're going to be with other girls and women that have a shared mentality, have a shared fears sometimes too, and are willing to challenge themselves in ways that everybody can, but few will actually do. And so you should be proud of that commitment and also that ability to not just do what's comfortable, but to show yourself what you're capable of. So that leads me to our first event. It is March 8th here in Columbus, Ohio, which not all the events are in Columbus, but this one is, and it's called Operation Seal. Operation Seal. This event is part of our outdoor series, and it is led by former Navy SEAL. His name's Andy. And Operation Seal will push a group of 20 women to their limits in a completely unique way. Each woman is required to carry a ruck. Depending on your weight will depend on the amount of weight in that ruck. A ruck is similar to a backpack. You can just have a backpack and put weight on it. And participants will work together as a team to conquer a series of demanding tasks. So it will be a little bit strength, but also you're just going to be rucking, meaning you're walking with that weight. You have a flag that you're holding. The cadre Andy will direct you to complete a specific mission, and you have to be collaborative about how to complete it. It is something that is so different, but so fun. And I did his event. He hosted a Go Ruck event here last year. And I was introduced to Go Ruck years ago when I did an event on December 7th in Cleveland, Ohio. It was outside for 12 hours and it was freezing. Whew, don't get me started. But it was so cool to do something different. Yes, physically use my body and push my body past what I thought it could do, but also it was the mental. It was, I'll have to share this story. For the first event that I've ever done, that was more of this kind of style, is, like I said, it was in December 7th, and it was in honor of Pearl Harbor. And we were in Cleveland, Ohio by the Brown Stadium. And the individual, the cadre, he was part of Special Forces there, he pulled me aside, and I was quote unquote the leader of the group. And so I had to set up our group on the side of the Cleveland Browns Stadium where the stairs are. It was in support of a quote unquote attack coming. So he's like, hey, the enemy is coming from this angle. And so you have to set your, your rucks are your, how did he say this? We had like artillery, and I mean, he was trying to simulate what you would do there. So I was trying to coordinate with the team to do this, and it looked like we were taking over the entire Browns stadium. Like, it looked scary because we're in dark clothes, we're holding a flag, we have a lot of heavy weight on our back. Like, it looked sketchy, I'm not gonna lie. And so it was so funny because as we were walking up the stairs and, trying to organize our group and do this and do that, all of a sudden, these individuals walk out of the Browns Stadium, walk down the stairs that we are up organizing our specific mission in beautiful clothing. I mean, top of the nines clothing. And we had to finish, we had to do the work that we were given. And we didn't mess with them at all. Come to find out that was the actual Cleveland Browns banquet that they were having. That these individuals were walking down the stairs as our big Go Ruck crew was organizing this mission. And they're like, what in the heck is happening? I will never forget that. It was so funny that night. But that's not what specifically we're going to do for this Operation SEAL. It's only going to be 2.5, 3 hours here. But it will challenge you mentally and physically and be a day that you will never forget. I will tell you that. That's number one. Okay. The cool thing about this event is it's all about the team. In our other events, there's a winner and there's a loser, right? There's a winner and there's individuals that might not place. This event, there is no winner. You will have to work strategically as a team and unite as a team to finish. That's number one. Number two, and secondly, is our second event is March 22nd in 3 different locations across the country. And that is our all women's strength event. In this event is a squat, bench, deadlift, and they will be held in Seattle, Washington, Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, and San Antonio, Texas. So excited. We have 2 new venues that I cannot wait to see that day. And with this event specifically is you will have an opportunity to max out in squat, bench, and deadlift. So you have 3 attempts to get a max out in squat, 3 attempts to get a max out in bench, and 3 attempts to get a max out in deadlift. You have 1 rep that you try to do as much weight as you can. And because of this, many different powerlifting events are based on weights. And so meaning the body weight that you have. So you'll get a lot of women either cutting for an event or, trying to be strategic with it. And we said, no, we don't want women cutting for our events. We want this to be a showcase of their strength. We want this to be an open door for any new lifters that maybe have never maxed out before. We want this to be for all women. And so because of that, our divisions look a little bit different. Instead of weight classes, we have 4 main divisions. Our first division is called Mighty and Mini, and it's for anybody less than 14 years old, but they also need to have a guardian there just for support. So Mighty and Mini, number 1. Secondly is beginner but badass. These are for individuals 0 to 1 years of experience strength training. So this might be a completely new person to strength training or within their first year, which it's crazy. We're over 40% of our lifters are beginners, which I think is so cool. Like so cool. Kudos to you guys. Secondly is intermediate and incredible. That's 1 to 3 years lifting experience. And then last but not least is called Basically a Pro. Our 4th and final division is 3+ years lifting. So it is all based on experience level. You get the really experienced ones with the really experienced ones, and then the newer beginner athletes with the newer beginner athletes. It pulls an even playing field. Yes, the weights are a little bit skewed because people that weigh different are usually can lift a little bit different weight, but we take people cutting for our events out of it, and we want this to be an open door for women that either is that athlete that wants to have a good time or that beginner that is ready to see what they're capable of and would have never thought they could do something like this before. Our third event here is April 5th. It is filling up right now, and I'm so pumped. It is in Columbus, Ohio, and that is a part of our resilience division. So we will do breath work, cold plunge, and sauna at this specific event. And who we have leading it, I'm so excited for. He was a previous NFL player and founder of Breathing for Performance. His name is Brian Peters, and he will teach us how to use our breath to really calm our nervous system and build resilience. And then afterward, we will have optional cold plunge and sauna to experience what he's also taught you through the breath. And for those that don't know, the power of breath work is your breath is tied to also your nervous system regulation. So if you've heard of the terms fight or flight or kind of rest and digest, that the breath is tied to allowing yourself go into fight or flight mode and then pulling yourself down to feel calm, to feel regulated, and to just allow your body to be grounded. And these are techniques that we all breathe. Every single one of us, if you're listening to this, you're breathing, but that doesn't mean that we are breathing to the best of our capability or breathing effectively to regulate our nervous system. I cannot say enough about this work because this has been so crucial in my journey to be able to go do the crazy things that I've done, but also maintain my internal health and my calmness in my nervous system and down regulate. If you want to have, an amazing time, and secondly, if you want to learn something that you might have never learned before, this will be the event for you. April 5th, Columbus, Ohio. It's called Resilience. And then last few here is May 17th. We have our epic lifting event here in Columbus, Ohio, and we're working on something really cool also behind the scenes with it. And then last but not least, we did an XYL client, our one-on-one client only release right now. It will come to the public, but it is our one-time big event of the year, meaning it is a small, intimate crew. We're doing something that people have usually never done before. We're taking a crew together for it. And what this is called Hike 80K. And we are hiking the second highest peak in New York. And we only have 7 spots available for this. And it is an all-inclusive with a cabin, a hike led by specific guides in 80K. And it is a full weekend getaway of just, it's going to be such a good time. The cabin that we got is amazing. The crew that we have leading it is awesome. This will be a weekend of, you're going to push your limits and you're going to be proud of yourself, but just a weekend of getaway and fun and meet amazing women too. We're going to summit the Algonquin Peak, say that 10 times fast, and it is 5,114 feet. This is an 8-mile out and back loop, and it will challenge you with 3,000 feet of vertical gain. And I'll tell you, the views that will come from this peak is insane. We will eventually release this to the public. We only have 3 spots left as of now since our clients grabbed some spots of this. So be sure to get on our weekly email list to get first dibs of it. And last but not least with XYL is we are finalizing our training app that has been in the works since last year. You sign up for these events, or you are like, okay, Kelsey, like, how do I strength train? What should I actually do in the gym? This will solve that problem. And I want fitness and strength accessible to everybody. This has changed my life, and that might sound drastic, but strength training and fitness alongside with my faith, has really changed my life for the better. And I want this accessible to every single human. So we're going to be coming out with a training app only, and it will have all of our tips and tricks and plans for the events and how to train for them. That will be specifically right there. Our goal is to build community with XYL, to have a community of people that are coming together. And so these events are going to be awesome, but also our training app and what we're going to foster here is amazing. Okay. With focusing on building Expand Your Limits, I also follow some other founders that are just making the world a better place. Like, just, you could tell, just are great humans. And I came across this individual called Peter Nielsen, and he's the founder of Sisu Sauna that's actually based in Cleveland, Ohio. And I found him through a Nick Bare podcast, and he just has an incredible story. And you can tell, just is also just very grounded from the podcast that I've listened to, and also just following him on social. And I ended up going to a pop-up event that he had after Thanksgiving, where it was just a big max out and sauna party. So fun. Anyway, I saw on his Instagram story one day, it was a book called Leadership Not by the Book. And it was the Hobby Lobby founder that wrote this book. And I was very curious about it. So that is the book that I've been reading currently. And it has been a great read. He's a Christian. He's really grounded, not only himself in faith, but his also business in faith. And I've been ending my nights with that, along with, I'm currently in a Bible study reading the book of John right now too, with Monday nights being our Bible study night. And then each night I do a weekly Bible study, just small little few chapters or a few questions that will build off of some of the verses in that chapter. And it has been so incredibly grounding for me. And I've just been appreciative of my time to be able to just really get into the Word and ground myself in that aspect. So last few things, it's also been my mission just to give you guys free value that has helped me along my journey, whether it be nutrition tips, mindset tips, training. And this podcast is all about encouraging you to step out of your comfort zone and do the dang thing, and to be able to take yourself going forward. And for me, when I was working out or driving back and forth, I'd put a podcast on, and I've learned from so many people through podcasts. And so that's why I wanted to give back. And for the first few months of this show, it was all about building the foundation. And also too, just like me stepping into building my voice. What do I want to speak about? What's a little bit different? And we talked a lot about the nudge and the fear zone and what you can really do to take yourself to the next level, and who to surround yourself with, and tips that way. But as I was getting into those solo episodes, I was like, there is one thing missing that I cannot wait to build off of. And now that thing is coming to light, and it is bringing podcast interviews with people who live out the values of stepping out of their comfort zone, of individuals, whether it be in fitness, whether that be in other areas of their life. I cannot wait to introduce to you these individuals and break down, like, what do you do? How do you operate? Why? And get to the root of it all, and understand and hopefully inspire you that, hey, like, if they can do it, you can do it too. I just have learned from so many different individuals, and it's been really interesting to hear their stories. So I cannot wait to bring their stories to you. So if you have individuals, you're like, oh, Kelsey, this is the perfect person. It could be male or female. It does not have to be only female here. Send me a message on Instagram at Kelsey Lensman, and I would love to hear from you who you want to hear from on this one. And if you know me, you know that I'm a question asker. Oh, I will get to the root cause of things. So I just cannot wait to have great conversations with amazing people to hopefully give you some value and just shed a little light on what has encouraged them to pursue what they pursue, and also what are some of the challenges that they've overcome and how have they navigated through that. So that is the update with the podcast. This season is going to go, I can't wait. It's time to bring people on, and it is going to be so incredible here. Which leads me to my last and final point of the one lesson that I've learned over this past month. We've talked my recovery, new fitness goals. We've talked XYL events, updates on XYL. We've talked the book that I'm reading, and podcast updates. And finally, through all of that, I have grounded myself over this, and this has inspired me going forward. And that it's, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I don't think it has to be either or. You can still go moderately fast and go together, but it has been this central lesson theme of, one, you are not meant to do life alone, but also none of this is possible by myself. First, it's by the grace of God that He's given me the people in my life, the opportunities that He's opened, the challenges to build me, and the blessings also to ground me. It is by the grace of God that all of this is here, but none of this is me. Yes, I put in work. Yes, I have to get creative, but it's the people around me that have encouraged me, that have mentored me, that are alongside of me in building this. And that is something that I felt so incredibly grateful, but also convicted of it this month of Kelsey, like, yes, you're working, but there's so many more people that have contributed and that I'm grateful for to have in my life, that this wouldn't be a thing without them. And for a little bit, it can be easy when you're putting in the work, and it's not that you're intentional about you're letting your ego get in the way, but it can, at least for me, I'll speak for myself, of it can feel like, okay, this is me doing the thing. Like I'm putting in the work, but I felt so convicted, and also just people were speaking into my life of like, no, Kels, like it's God's first. He's giving you these blessings. He's giving you these opportunities. He has, like, this is His. And second, it's everybody that's been around you in your life to build you or to mentor you or to be with you or also to challenge you, that enables you to do the things that you are, whether it be in your fitness journey, but then also your business journey too. And if you're a part of my team, you know this, I've been very transparent, but I had a deep conviction of just honestly not letting God into every area of my life. Like I would go to church and I would read my Bible and do that stuff. But when it comes to my business, I wouldn't pray about it. I wouldn't view it as like, hey, God's given you these opportunities. I wouldn't view it as, hey, it's also the people. I mean, I viewed it as that. But I've had a big mentality shift, and it's a little bit hard for me to communicate right now, but I've had a big mentality shift this first month of, Kels, like, let God take the reins, girl. Like, yes, put in your work. Yes, do put a little bit of muscle and grit behind it. But ultimately, let God be a part of it and let Him lead it. And let the people in your life just be and contribute in such a beautiful way. And so I fully believe that we are not meant to do life alone. And I'm excited to continue to build this with you. I'm excited to get to interview people and get to understand how they work, and just continue to seek new levels, seek new edges, and show yourself and show myself what we're capable of here. So if you made it this far, I appreciate you. Thank you for always tuning in. And if you have any interview guests that you want me to hit, I'm always a message away and cannot wait to hear from you soon. As always, challenge yourself this week, show yourself that you can do it, and I'll see y'all next week.